They came without warning. No message, no mercy, only silence. As cities burned, they didn't speak. They watched from the sky.
The first night, Sarah began to remember, started like any other quiet evening in her small town. The air outside was still, the sky clear and cold, the stars sharp like white dust scattered over black glass. She sat near the window with a cup of tea, the sound of the clock ticking behind her, steady and soft. Everything felt ordinary, yet her chest carried a strange tightness she could not name. For weeks she had dreamed of the same field, a place she didn't recognize, with long grass moving under silver light. Each time she woke up before reaching the edge, where the light seemed to pulse, she thought it was only a dream until the marks appeared on her arm. Small, round patterns, too perfect to be made by accident. She tried to brush them off, but they stayed, faintly glowing under the skin when she turned off the lamp. She told no one, not even Michael. He'd stopped believing in strange things long ago. She didn't want that quiet look he gave when she spoke of dreams. Instead, she started writing what she saw each night. The more she wrote, the clearer it became. The same hum, the same sound like wind inside metal. Something always watching, something waiting. That night, just after midnight, her phone lit up on its own. The screen glowed white for a second, then went black again. She felt her ears ring, a deep vibration that filled the room. Outside, every light on the street flickered once, then twice. 10 went out. Only the moonlight remained, pale across her floor. She moved to the window and saw it, a faint column of blue light in the distance. Far beyond the hills, it pulsed once, like a heartbeat, then faded. She stood there for a long time, frozen, trying to tell herself it was lightning or a trick of the air. But she knew the sky was clear. There were no clouds, no storm, only silence. Then came the hum again, deeper, closer, as if something massive turned slowly above the town. The window glass trembled. The cup on the table moved an inch. Her vision blurred for a moment. When it cleared, she was standing outside without knowing how she got there, barefoot on the cold grass, the house lights dark behind her. The air smelled sharp, metallic. Overhead, stars seemed to twist like they were being pulled by something unseen. Then the blue light appeared again, this time closer, wide as a doorway, and for the first time, she heard voices inside her head. Faint, overlapping whispers, speaking words she couldn't understand. She wanted to run, but her body didn't move. The light expanded, soft around her, wrapping her in calm instead of fear. For a brief moment, she felt weightless. Her heart slowed, her breath evened. Then everything went dark. When she woke, the sun was already up. Birds were singing. The clock said 7:30. Her feet were clean, her nightdress smooth, as if she had never stepped outside. But the marks on her arm had changed. New lines now curved through the old circles, forming something like a pattern, something deliberate. She felt both fear and strange peace, as if part of her had been waiting for this. She tried to remember what happened between the darkness and the morning, but only fragments returned a room without walls. The smell of ozone, the sound of her own heartbeat echoing somewhere far away, and faces. Not human, but not frightening, watching her with soft glowing eyes. She remembered one voice more clearly than the others, deep and kind, saying something that sounded like we return what was taken. Her phone was still dead. The battery refused to charge. When she checked her security camera, the file from last night was missing. Every other night was saved except that one. Only a single still frame remained, her standing in the yard, looking up at the sky, surrounded by faint mist. Later that day, while driving to town, she passed the field from her dreams. It was real, the same curve of land, the same fence broken at the corner, even the same lonely tree at the top of the hill. And though it was bright daylight, she could swear she saw the air shimmer above it, as if heat waves were moving through invisible glass. She stopped the car, heart pounding. The field was empty, silent, yet she felt drawn to step inside. The grass moved gently, though there was no wind. In the center of the field, the ground looked slightly darker. A perfect circle burned into the earth. She crouched, head touching the soil. It was warm. Suddenly, her phone vibrated. The screen, which had refused to light up all morning, now showed a new file. A short video she didn't record. She pressed play. For a few seconds, there was only static, then her own voice whispering softly, almost dreamlike, saying they said they would come back tonight. She stared at the phone, her hands trembling. The video ended abruptly, leaving her reflection in the black screen. Somewhere behind her, a crow called once, and then the wind began to move again, slow and steady, bending the grass in one direction, toward the tree, toward the circle, as if pointing her where to go. She wanted to leave, to forget, but something inside told her it was too late. Whatever had begun was still unfolding, and as she walked back to her car, she noticed one more thing. The pattern on her arm was no longer faint. It glowed faint blue even in daylight, like light coming from beneath her skin. She looked once more toward the field, feeling the same vibration deep inside her chest, that low hum returning from somewhere in the distance, and a quiet thought passed through her mind, soft and certain, though she couldn't tell if it was her own or someone else. Yes, they never really leave. Sarah couldn't stop thinking about the field. All day the image stayed in her mind, the circle in the grass, the warmth in the soil, the strange blue glow that lived beneath her skin. When night came, she tried to sleep, but her thoughts moved like waves, coming back to that same spot over and over again. By morning, she made a decision. She would go back. She needed to see if it was still there, or if everything had vanished like a dream. The road was quiet as she drove, fog drifting low across the hills. Her hands trembled on the steering wheel, but she felt pulled by something gentle, as if the place itself was waiting. When she reached the field, the sun had not yet risen. A thin silver light stretched over the grass, and the world felt hushed, like it was holding its breath. The air smelled faintly, metallic again. The same scent she remembered from that strange night. She stepped out, her shoes sinking slightly into the wet ground, and saw that the circle was still there. Only now, it looked different. The edges had grown wider, and at the center, the soil was marked with faint symbols, long lines curving into loops she didn't recognize. She crouched, brushing the dirt away with her hand, and felt a vibration through the ground, soft but steady, like a pulse coming from below. Then, from behind her, a voice spoke. "I wouldn't touch that if I were you." Sarah turned quickly. A man stood by the fence, holding a small camera in his hand. He looked tired, unshaven, his eyes fixed on the same spot she had been studying. He introduced himself as Daniel, said he'd been watching the skies for months after the lights started showing up again. She asked what he meant by again, and he smiled a tired kind of smile. "They've been here before," he said quietly. "People just forget." He showed her pictures on his camera. Different towns, same blue lights. He said some people disappeared for a night, others for weeks, and came back without a single mark. But their memories never matched the time they'd lost. Then he saw her arm. She hadn't noticed the mark was glowing again, faint in the daylight. Daniel froze, staring. "You've seen them," he said. It wasn't a question. Sarah didn't answer. Her throat felt dry. For the first time, she realized how strange it was that she wasn't demortiafried. It was like part of her already trusted what she didn't understand. Daniel placed a small recording device on the ground inside the circle. He said it could pick up frequencies the human ear couldn't hear. They both listened through the headphones. At first, there was nothing, only wind and distant birds. Then, beneath the noise, came a soft rhythmic sound, a deep tone rising and falling every few seconds. It didn't sound like machinery or static. It sounded alive. She asked if it was coming from underground, but Daniel only shook his head. "No," he whispered. "It's coming from above us." They looked up. The sky was pale, the sun hidden behind low mist. Yet for a moment, the light shifted. The clouds rippled, bending as if something massive moved behind them. A blue shimmer passed across the field, fast but silent, and every sound around them stopped. No birds, no wind, only the low hum growing stronger. Sarah felt her skin prickle, her heart slowing, that same strange calm washing over her again. Then it was gone. The air returned to normal. The birds sang again, but when she looked down, Daniel's recorder was gone. No trace left on the ground, only a small circle of burned grass where it had been. They searched for hours, but found nothing. When they finally left, Daniel promised to send her the data from his other recordings. He said there was a pattern. The lights always followed certain coordinates, forming a path that moved slowly north each week. Before he drove away, he told her something that stayed in her mind long after. "If they've marked you," he said, "they'll come back. They always do." That night, Sarah sat alone in her kitchen. Her phone vibrated again. Another video had appeared. This time it showed the field from above, as if filmed by a drone. In the middle of the frame, two tiny figures stood, her and Daniel. And above them, for just 1 second, a circular shadow crossed the mist. No sound, just silence. She didn't upload it. Didn't tell anyone. She just sat there staring at the frozen image. Her own face turned toward the sky, her mouth slightly open as if she were listening to something no one else could hear. Later, she lay in bed with the lights off. Her eyes were closed, but she wasn't asleep. Somewhere in the distance, faint and familiar, the hum began again, slower this time, softer, almost like a lullaby. And then she heard Daniel's voice inside her head, calm and far away. There, calling again. The night after the second video appeared, Sarah couldn't sleep. The sound in her head was gentle but constant, a low hum that pulsed through the quiet house. It didn't hurt, it didn't scare her. It just wouldn't stop. She kept waiting for it to fade, but each time she thought it was gone, it came back, softer, deeper, like it wanted her attention. She got out of bed and walked to the kitchen window. The street outside was empty, the lights glowing yellow against the fog. Nothing moved, not even the trees. It felt as if the world was holding its breath again. Her reflection looked pale in the glass, eyes tired, hair tangled from sleeplessness. She touched her arm, the place where the mark had glowed before, and felt warmth under her skin. The light wasn't visible now, but it was still there waiting, like a heartbeat under the surface. She turned off the kitchen light and stepped onto the porch. The air was cold and smelled faintly of rain. The field was far away, hidden beyond the hills, but she could still feel its pull. Her thoughts drifted to Daniel, his face, his tired eyes, the way he said they always come back. She wondered where he was now. Her phone buzzed softly in her hand. A message appeared from an unknown number. "Don't go outside tonight." There was no name, no number, only those 4 words. She stared at the screen, her stomach tightening. The fog outside had grown thicker, pressing close around the house. She stepped back inside and locked the door, her hands trembling a little. She tried calling Daniel, but there was no signal, just static, then silence. She sat on the couch with the lights off, listening. For a long time, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the humming sound shifted. It grew sharper, almost mechanical. The air inside the house seemed to move, though no window was open. A faint vibration ran through the floorboards, then through her chest. Her vision blurred for a second, and when it cleared, the clock on the wall had stopped. The sound faded again, leaving only silence. She looked at the time on her phone, 2:41 a.m. When she blinked, it jumped to 4:12. Almost 2 hours had vanished. Her phone fell from her hand. She didn't remember standing up or sitting down again. The room looked the same, but something in the air felt wrong. The hum had stopped completely, and for the first time in days, Seth felt cold. Not from fear, but from absence, like something that had been inside her was gone now. She checked the doors and windows again. Everything was still locked. Her hand shook as she reached for her phone. A new message waited. "We need to talk. Meet me at the field before sunrise." It was from Daniel. She hesitated only a moment before grabbing her keys and leaving the house. The drive was slow and silent. The fog grew denser as she reached the edge of town. The headlights barely cut through it. Every few minutes, the car radio clicked on by itself, whispering fragments of voices she couldn't understand. She tried to turn it off, but it kept returning to the same faint signal. A steady pulse, exactly like the sound she had heard before. When she arrived, Daniel's truck was already there. He stood near the circle with a flashlight, his face pale and drawn. He didn't look surprised to see her. "I told you not to go outside," he said softly. You sent that? He nodded. They're active tonight. The field looked different again. The symbols in the grass had changed, new lines overlapping the old ones, forming shapes that glowed faintly even without light. The air shimmered above them, as if heat rose from the soil, though the night was cold. Sarah stepped closer, and Daniel cut her arm. "Wait," he said. "There's something you should see first." He pointed his flashlight toward the trees. A shape lay in the shadows. At first, she thought it was an animal, but as they moved closer, she saw fabric, a jacket, a pair of boots. Someone was lying face down in the grass. Daniel turned the body over carefully. The man's eyes were open, staring blankly at the sky. His skin was pale, almost gray, and a thin line of blood marked the side of his neck. Sarah stepped back, gasping. "Who is he?" "I don't know," Daniel whispered, "but he's one of them." He showed her a badge clipped to the man's coat, Department of Atmospheric Studies. Sarah's heart raced. "He's government." Daniel nodded. "No, they've been watching the lights for years. They think they can control it, but no one who comes here at night ever makes it back the same." The hum began again. It came from everywhere and nowhere, filling the field like invisible water. The grass trembled, and the symbols began to glow brighter. The air around them thickened, heavy and electric. Sarah felt her body go still, her breath slowing. Daniel grabbed her shoulders. "Stay with me," he said, but his voice sounded distant now, as if it came from the end of a long tunnel. She tried to speak, but her mouth wouldn't move. The light from the symbols rose higher, forming a thin column that reached into the fog. Inside the light, she saw shapes, not solid, not human, moving with slow, deliberate grace. Their eyes glowed faintly, like reflections of stars. Then she was somewhere else. There was no sound, only a white space that stretched in every direction. Air feet didn't touch the ground. The air felt alive, breathing with her. A soft voice spoke inside her mind, not in words, but in feelings. Calm, curious, endless. "You remember us?" She wanted to say no, but deep inside she knew it was true. Images filled her mind, a room made of light, a table that floated, figures moving around her, touching her skin with gentle precision. She saw her arm, the same mark, glowing brighter, and felt warmth spreading through her veins. Then another image, Daniel, standing in the same room, eyes wide, his mouth open in silent fear. She reached toward him, but the space between them stretched wider, dissolving into light. When she opened her eyes again, she was lying in the grass. The sun was rising, pale gold through the fog. Her clothes were dry. The air was still. Daniel was gone. She sat up slowly. The field was empty except for the faint outline of the circle. The body of the man from the night before had disappeared too. Only a patch of dark soil remained where he had been. Her phone buzzed again. The time read 7:19 a.m. A message appeared, a video file with no name. She pressed play. The screen showed her lying in the field, eyes closed, arms spread, the symbols glowing under her. Above her, a faint blue light hovered. Not touching her, just pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. Daniel's voice whispered in the background, though his face never appeared. "They don't take time," he said. "They rewrite it." The video ended. Sarah stared at the blank screen for a long time. Her heart felt strangely calm. She looked at her arm again. The mark had changed, no longer a circle, but a line of tiny symbols running up toward her wrist. They moved slightly, like living ink. She tried calling Daniel again, but the number no longer existed. Her messages to him vanished from her phone one by one, leaving no trace. For the rest of the day, she walked around in a fog of confusion. Every clock in her house showed a different time. The mirrors seemed to flicker when she passed them. The humming sound had returned, but now it seemed softer, almost comforting, like something that wanted to keep her safe. That evening, she drove to the town library. She searched the archives for anything about the Department of Atmospheric Studies. There were no records. It was as if the agency had never existed. Before leaving, she asked the librarian about local sightings of strange lights. The woman hesitated, then said there had been reports for decades, always in the same season, always around the same valley. People called it the Whispering Sky. When Sarah walked back to her car, she found a small envelope on the windshield. Inside was a photo. It showed her standing in the field from the night before, only she wasn't alone. Behind her, 3 faint figures stood in the mist, tall and shadowed, their faces hidden. On the back of the photo, someone had written a single line: "They never really leave." That night, Sarah sat by the window, watching the fog return. She didn't feel fear anymore, only curiosity. The hum was stronger now, filling the walls, moving through the air like a low, endless breath. She turned off the lights and whispered into the dark. I remember. And somewhere outside, faint but clear, a voice answered her in the same calm tone. "We know." The window glass shimmered. Her reflection smiled, but her lips didn't move. Then the hum rose again, deep and steady, and the world faded into white. Morning sunlight fell through the fog like soft gold dust. The town was quiet. Cars moved slowly. People walked with sleepy faces, and everything felt almost normal again. But Sarah knew it wasn't. She had seen too much. She had felt the hum inside her skin. Something had changed in her. She sat by the kitchen table with her laptop open. The photo from last night lay beside her. The faces in the mist behind her were clearer in daylight, but still not fully human. Their shapes were smooth and pale, their eyes wider than normal. The mark on her arm glowed faintly in the reflection from the window. It pulsed with the same rhythm as before. She had tried to convince herself that what happened was a dream, that Daniel's message and the glowing field were tricks of exhaustion, but the mark was still there, and so was the video. Each time she watched it, she noticed something new. A flicker in the background, a voice she had missed before, or a shadow that wasn't there the first time. Her phone vibrated again. A new file appeared with no name or sender. It contained coordinates: a forest a few miles north, near the old observatory that had been closed for years. She hesitated. Every part of her told her not to go, yet her hands were already typing the route into her car's GPS. The drive was slow. The road climbed through empty farmland and into hills covered in mist. The forest began as a blur of gray trunks and green shadows, thick and quiet. Birds called now and then, but their songs faded quickly into the heavy air. At the edge of the trees stood the remains of a metal gate. It hung open, rusted through at the hinges. A broken sign read "Research Station, no entry." Sarah parked nearby and walked the rest of the way. Her shoes crunched on gravel. The sound echoed strangely, as if the air around her was too dense for sound to travel normally. The observatory stood at the top of a slope, round and pale, its roof cracked open. Vines crawled up the walls. Inside, dust floated like snow in the light that filtered through the broken dome. The large telescope was still there, aimed at the ceiling as though waiting for something that never came. She ran her hand along the metal. It was cold. On the side of the telescope, scratched into the surface, she found a line of tiny symbols, the same kind that had appeared on her arm. She took a photo and zoomed in. There were 7 shapes arranged in a spiral. When she compared them with the mark on her skin, she realized one was missing. The last symbol had not yet appeared on her. The air shifted behind her. She turned. Daniel stood in the doorway. His eyes looked different, darker, quieter, but his face was the same. He didn't look surprised to see her. "I knew you'd come," he said. "Where have you been?" He walked closer. "Nowhere. Everywhere. I'm not sure anymore." He stopped beside her and looked up at the broken dome. "This is where it started," he said. "They used to track the lights here decades ago, but the equipment failed after the first contact. Power would drain, recordings would vanish. People forgot why they came." Sarah looked around. "Did you work here?" He nodded slowly. "For a while, I thought I was helping study something natural. Patterns in the atmosphere. But then the readings began to match the timing of abductions across the region. Same coordinates, same gaps in time. That's when they shut it down." She stepped closer to the telescope. These marks, what do they mean? They're not words, he said. They're instructions. Instructions for what? For them, he said softly. To find us. The light in the room changed suddenly, turning pale blue. Dust froze in the air like stars. The hum returned, faint at first, then deep enough to vibrate through her chest. Daniel didn't move. His face was calm, his eyes fixed on the ceiling. They're here, he whispered. The metal of the telescope began to glow. A thin beam of light formed above it, stretching upward through the hole in the dome. The beam was silent, but alive, filled with shapes that moved like flowing water. Sarah felt her body tense, her heart slowing. Daniel reached into his coat and pulled out a small black device, no larger than a phone. This is what they left last time, he said. It records what we can't see. He pressed a button, and the device began to pulse with the same rhythm as her arm. A faint tone filled the air, almost too high to hear. The beam of light wavered. Suddenly, the hum deepened into a single low note that seemed to come from the ground itself. The floor shook. Dust rained down. Sarah covered her ears, but the sound wasn't in the air anymore. It was inside her head. Then everything went silent. When she opened her eyes, she was outside. The sky was pale gray. The observatory stood behind her, dark and still. Daniel was gone. The light, the beam, the vibration, all gone, as if they had never existed. She ran back inside. The telescope was cold again. The symbols had vanished. Only the small black device remained on the floor, still pulsing with faint blue light. She picked it up and pressed the button. A voice spoke. Not Daniel's, not hers. Calm/measured, like someone explaining something to a child. We guide the lost back to the pattern. Then static. She pressed the button again. This time, a different sound. Something like breathing, distant and metallic. Then, silence. She held the device close to her ear and listened. After a few seconds, she heard whispering, hundreds of voices layered over one another, repeating the same soft phrase, "We remember you." She dropped the device. Her pulse raced. She tried to leave, but the door had changed. It wasn't broken anymore. It looked new, freshly painted, as if the building had never aged. The vines outside were gone. The air smelled clean. She stepped outside and froze. The trees were full of light, tiny floating spheres, docents of team hanging between the branches like glowing seeds. They moved slowly, circling her, forming a spiral that matched the marks on her arm. The last missing symbol appeared on her skin, completing the pattern. It shimmered for a moment, then sank beneath the surface. A voice spoke in her mind again, gentle, steady. Now you are complete. Her body felt weightless. The world tilted. The light surrounded her until she couldn't see the forest, the road, or the sky. Only the voice remained. Yes, to understand. Now you will remember what was taken. Images filled her thoughts again, not dreams. Memories. She saw herself as a child, standing in the same field, reaching up toward a silver light. She saw her parents running toward her, calling her name, and then being stopped by a wall of brightness. She saw small hands touching her face, eyes studying her with care, voices humming in patterns that shaped her heartbeat. When the images faded, she was crying. She didn't know why. The forest was gone. She was standing in an open field, under a sky full of stars. The town lights were far away. The air was warm, and the hum was soft again, like a lullaby. The black device in her hand had stopped glowing. She walked until she found a road and followed it back toward town. Every few steps, she felt a faint pull behind her, like gravity reversed. Something wanted her to look back, but she didn't. She knew that if she did, she might not come back this time. When she reached her house, everything inside was exactly as she left it, except for one thing. On the kitchen table lay a small piece of metal, smooth and curved, no bigger than a coin. It pulsed faintly with blue light. She touched it, and the hum returned. Soft, steady, familiar. On her laptop, a new message appeared on the screen without any notification sound. It had no sender, no subject line. Only 3 words: "You are chosen." She stared at it until the screen dimmed. The message disappeared. Outside, thunder rolled through the hills, though no storm was visible. The fog was back, heavier this time, moving like a living thing. She turned off the lights and sat near the window again, watching as small flashes of blue drifted within the mist. She whispered quietly, "What do you want from me?" No one answered, but deep inside her mind, the same calm voice spoke again. "To help you remember." The fog pressed against the glass. For a moment, she thought she saw faces in it. Soft outlines, large dark eyes. Her reflection shimmered again, the same as before, smiling when she didn't. The hum grew louder, filling the room until it felt like part of her own heartbeat. She didn't try to resist anymore. She closed her eyes, and the light behind her eyelids flickered like stars. The last thing she heard before drifting into sleep was the whisper of many voices merging into one. "It begins again." Sarah didn't sleep that night. The hum never stopped. It came and went, like waves, low and slow, sometimes moving through the wall. Typing it into a sound editor, the pattern created a wave that curved perfectly into the same shape world whispering back. This is Night Whisper. Sleep well. Dream deeper. And remember, not all stories end with the morning.